Thank you. Certainly want to just start by saying that we're looking forward to the Super Bowl on Sunday and hopefully a big Patriots victory on Sunday night, but we're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves. We still have a couple days of practice left, and hopefully we're going to have a great day. Really, today is just talking about the people in the city of Boston and people who come into our city and also the college students that are in our city. We're asking you to behave responsibly and safely on Sunday. We're asking people and to remind people there's no public drinking, there's no destruction of property. Depending on what happens at the end of the game, we're asking people not to climb on structures. Be very, very careful on that. Do not interfere with the work of our public safety office, our police department, EMS, or any transportation folks out there. We want to be able to move this celebration, if we win this game Sunday, in a very positive manner. We're going to have a zero tolerance policy out on the streets after the game, during the game, and actually before the game. The commissioner is going to talk a little more about law enforcement and alcohol laws and what we're doing with the bars in our city. We had a great meeting with the bars in our city earlier this week. They were all very receptive and very cooperative with the plan that we have moving forward. We're asking the college and students and university students that live on campus, stay on campus, celebrate safely. Students must remember that they represent their schools and their family, and they also represent the city of Boston when they're out on the street. So we ask you to be very careful out there. Any Super Bowl parties you have, be responsible and be safe out there as well. Traffic and parking restrictions around the Kenmore Square, Northeast, and Faneuil Hall, North Station. We're going to be asking people to pay attention to signs on Sunday. We're going to be posting those areas. We'll be posting them before Sunday, but on Sunday we'll be towing cars to make sure the cars aren't out there, and asking people to avoid that area if you're driving that area, either whether during the game, try and cut down on traffic, but certainly after the game, we don't want any driving through those areas. We're a community, so we want to ask everyone to keep an eye out for each other. And this, what I'm talking about today, isn't just about the Fenway, Kenmore area. It's about the entire city of Boston, asking everyone to act responsibly, enjoy the Super Bowl. It should be a great game. As we all know, there's a lot of history potentially being made on Sunday. It's a big day for the city of Boston. It's a big day for New England. And I just want to say go Pats, and I'd like to turn this over to Commissioner Billy Evans.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And like the mayor said, our whole idea is we want it to be a great day, a great victory, but we also want people to behave responsibly. We've had this plan into effect over the last couple of times, the Pats as well as the Red Sox. Bruins, Celtics, we've been very fortunate to have such good teams, but we always worry about the after effects when kids spill out and the bars spill out. So, we have a great plan. We met with the colleges on Monday, just with the administrators to ask them to do everything they can just to tell their kids if they're going to come out and celebrate. We have no issues with that. We just don't want them to cause any vandalism or anyone getting hurt. There's some restrictions on the bars. We've asked all the licensed premises at the end of the third quarter not to let anyone in, and especially if they're at capacity, and especially in the Kenmore Square area where in past years that's where all the college kids seem to congregate. So there will be some restrictions, and Gina Fiandaca from the Transportation Department, she can talk about those, but at the end of the third quarter we're going to shut down Kenmore Square, both eastbound and westbound, just so when the crowds spill out of the bars and the colleges that we can keep them from sort of join forces and prevent such a large crowd. So it's been an effective plan in the past, and it's just a matter of keeping people safe. That's what this is all about. I want to thank the licensed premises. I want to thank the colleges for their continued support in this plan. And I also want to say, we'll have a lot of officers out there just trying to ensure people's safety, but we also won't forget about the rest of the city. We won't be draining resources. There'll be plenty of patrols out in some of the other neighborhoods throughout the city. So, we're looking forward to a great night. We're looking forward to a great victory, and hopefully we move on from there. So, like the mayor says, go Pats. So with that, I'm going to introduce transportation chairwoman, Gina Fiandaca. Gina? Sorry.
Thanks, Commissioner Evans, and thank you all for being here to help us get the message out. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the parking restrictions and the road closures that will be in effect. As Commissioner Evans indicated, around Kenmore Square, those roads will be closed starting at 9 p.m. on Sunday. But what you'll see out there now are some signs that relate to parking restrictions in the area of Kenmore Square, Faneuil Hall, North Station area, around the colleges, and in Brighton and Cleveland Circle. Those signs are posted now, and those parking restrictions will go into effect on Sunday. So we'll have 10 tow crews coming in on Sunday morning. They'll start towing vehicles throughout the day, and our tow lot will be open beginning at 10 a.m. through 8 p.m. on Sunday if you do get towed. A good day for us is if folks really pay attention to those restrictions and you don't get towed. If you do, check the website. You can call 311. If you come out after the 8 p.m. cutoff that our tow lot is open, we do have a kiosk there for a 24-hour retrieval of your vehicle. But all of these establishments are accessible by public transportation. So if you do want to participate, visit some of these establishments, leave the car at home. Everyone should be safe. Don't obviously, pay attention to the roadway restrictions. Don't text and drive. Be safe out there. This is a wonderful weekend in the city for the home team, and we want everyone to just enjoy it. So thank you.
Any questions on this issue? I know a couple people have questions off topic, but on the issue of Sunday.
Are you going to be bringing in the extra patrols from extra? In the past, you guys brought in MLEC and some other organizations to help with.
We're going to bring in some outside units, both to ride in our bicycle units and also, some public order platoons if we need them. You won't see them. They're not going to be out there unless, heaven forbid, and I don't anticipate it, we need them. But the whole idea of being here is, and we want is the fans, everyone please come out and celebrate. All we're asking is if you do it responsible. We're not telling people to stay in by any means. We're moving cars so kids aren't jumping on the cars. They're not vandalizing cars. But it's important. And also, there's going to be in some of the parking lots in Kenmore, if you're not out by the end of the 3rd, then you're going to have to stay put, because the last thing we want is someone coming out of a parking lot like we did years ago on Hemingway Street and running into the crowd. We've had some tragedies, and that's why, a lot of these restrictions, if you can remember, are a result of some, unfortunately, deaths of some young children after a game, and so that's why we do what we do. And it's all about public safety. It's not about inconveniencing the public. We want to make sure everyone celebrates, and they do it without anyone getting hurt.
Commissioner, can you talk about the restrictions on the bar? We obviously heard the mayor in Atlanta saying he was going to keep the bars open later. Kind of what was the dialogue, and are you doing anything to keep the bars a little bit tighter? Any of them going to shut down earlier? Or?
No, we got a lot of things. Starting early in the afternoon, we're going to have all our detectives out visiting the bars. We're going to make sure there's no overcrowding. We're going to make sure there's no underage, and we're going to make sure they stay at their capacity. We don't want a lot of rowdiness out there, and we're not closing the bars early by any means. All we're saying is at the end of the 3rd, especially in the Kenmore Square area, where we have to sort of clear everyone out to prevent any large crowds from getting, we're asking people to kindly move along. There's going to be no pushing, no shoving. This is going to be a clear, soft approach. Again, I think we do a good job on handling crowds, and so this is all about, hopefully, a celebration and not anyone getting injured and no vandalism from occurring.
Are preparations already underway for a possible victory parade, and how will weather play a role?
We have a football game to play Sunday, and let's see what happens in the football game. Next question. Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify, Mayor, the traffic through Kenmore Square, is it 9 p.m. or after the end of the 3rd quarter? Just wanted to clarify that.
It's probably around the same time. It will be, we'll give, we will start placing barriers at the end of the 3rd quarter. That will give us a quarter to get ready, and hopefully they win and the kids come out, and again, we'll be as happy as they are, and But, this is all about preventing anyone from getting hurt and any vandalism. We hope for a great night, and, I'm sorry if people are a little inconvenienced, but it's all in the name of public safety.
You mentioned it, but how fortunate is you have a playbook, so to speak, because you have been fortunate to cover enough of these. Do you just pull it out when the Patriots start winning and just refer to it from past years?
Yeah, we tweak it every year. We've been very fortunate. I think between the Red Sox, between the Bruins, the Celtics, and, we've been fortunate. I think this is our 11th one in, 10 years, Billy, is it? So, this is, the good thing is, we're getting good at winning, and hopefully we're getting good at crowd control, too, believe it or not, so.
Are you trying anything new this year? Like, is there something that you guys are going to try out?
No, again, I've been out there a lot of years, as Billy and a lot of us, and we just tweak. Every year we see what we can do better. And what we do real well here is try to keep crowds separate from each other. If we'll have the westbound coming down, the crowds over there. Boylston Street will stay. And they'll all stay away from the clubs in between. So we try to get crowds going every which way, and that's why the barriers are very helpful.
Any other questions on the football game? Any other questions at all?
Mr. Mayor, in regards to the public safety, because we talked about it a lot today, in reference to the shooting at Boston Public Schools, some of the school police officers feel that you've neglected them in terms of stating that you would harbor the residents here in Boston, but they kind of feel neglected in terms of they don't have the proper tools to counter any armed individual that may enter their schools. They feel that they're the first target to be taken out. How do you respond to that, considering that yourself walks around with an armed individual?
I have no idea what the question is. Would you try the question again? You
How would
talked
we
about
go-
harboring
How would we go about
people in
arming
City
the
Hall.
school police, considering the fact that it's clearly necessary these days?
No, I'm not necessarily supportive of that. Our school police are in our schools. We have metal detectors in our schools. The incident that you're referring to happened at the Bowling Building in a very open public space where we have restaurants and coffee shops and other types of shops there. Certainly, we're working on a plan now on looking back and seeing how we fix what happened at the Bowling Building so something like that would not happen again. But as far as the school goes, our school police will not be armed. It's not the place for school police to have guns.
We have a lot of uniformed officers assigned to all the schools, so they're in and out of the schools all the time. So they have the school police back, and if there's an issue, they're there to help them. So we have a large unit of school police who are in the school, who are armed, and who do a great job.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner, but it would take several minutes for those armed units to
Can I ask you a
to
question? What news outlet are you with?
I'm Manny Perez, dutytoact.wordpress.com.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, in regards to BYOB in restaurants, if some
Yep.
neighborhoods are deciding to do that, your reaction to that?
Yeah, we're going to, February 6th, the applications are available for people to apply. We worked on the regulations. It's gone through the city council. It's become law here in Boston, and we look forward to in opening up the opportunities for small restaurants and entertainment areas in the city of Boston, areas that want to bring BYOB. It's on our website, so anyone has any information that they want to find out about, they can contact our website, and they can start getting applications on the 6th of February.
How much does it usually cost to do security when it comes to these big game days?
I mean, it costs quite a bit, but, again, it's all about safety here. And I always say you can't put a price on safety, making sure everyone celebrates responsibly. So, it's consistent with years past. And
It's like thousands, millions?
yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but, again, the tough part of this for me is I have to order all my officers in. And, God bless them. A lot of them have never got to see a Patriots victory in its entirety. I'll be doing roll call at 6:30 with all our bosses, and at 7:30, while the game's well underway, all the officers have to do it. So it's a big sacrifice for my officers to come in on that night. And I think people don't realize, whether it's July 4th, whether it's New Year's Eve, all these days where people are celebrating, our officers are out there making sure the city's safe. And they'll be not only in these areas, but other areas of the city where we're out there trying to prevent violence. So, yeah, it's costly, but if we have one child hurt, every penny if we prevent one child from getting hurt, every penny's worth it as far as I'm concerned.
Commissioner, just to follow up, you stated that your armed officers respond to school police in the event that the school police may need them. As the receiving end of that, I've been a school police officer, and I've had to wait there for, as you stated, one of your armed officers to respond to me. It does take several minutes, and one wonders, in the event that an active shooter does enter Boston Public Schools or, school grounds, it takes several minutes for those units to respond. What do you expect the school police officers to do in a situation like that, considering the fact that the mayor refuses to arm them?
Well, let me just address that. Not every Boston public school in the city of Boston, I believe, has a police officer in them. So again, our schools are prepared for active shooter training. We certainly have, if we had, God forbid, in the case of an active shooter, we have a lot more to be concerned about than having. We need to make sure our kids are safe, and we're going to continue to do that. So again, to be very clear, our school police officers will not be carrying guns. Just want to be very clear on that. I think it sends a very poor message to our students in our schools, in our high schools, in our schools. We do have police officers around in certain areas, Boston police officers, but that's the policy of the city of Boston. That's been the policy for the past for decades, and it's going to continue to be the policy moving forward. Any other questions?
Commissioner, I have a couple follow-up. The Boston police officer whose car was tampered with, was he targeted?
We're not sure. We're looking at it. Yeah, he riding to work. Some of the lug nuts off his vehicle were tampered with. It's probably the fourth or fifth incident, I think. We sent out an alert to all our officers yesterday just to be aware of their surroundings, both at their home and their vehicle. And we're looking at it to see clearly if the officer was targeted, and it's troublesome if that's what's happening out there.
And lastly, the individuals that were sleeping in the officer's home.
I'm not.
That's not.
Yeah, I knew nothing. That's the first day.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you'll
Yeah. Is that even here, Bob?
No wages. I've said this when I first got elected mayor. I made a bet with the mayor of Denver in the AFC Championship game, and we lost. A few months later, I made a bet with the mayor of Montreal, Bruins Canadiens, and I lost. A year later, I made a bet with Penn State and BC Penn State, and we lost. And we had an internal meeting saying that it's time to stop betting on games. And the next game up was the Patriots versus Seattle for the most part, and we know what happened there. So there's no more betting on my path. I'm in my house.
Lawmakers voted to raise their own pay yesterday. I believe you chaired the ethics committee. What do you think about the process of it all?
I chaired the ethics committee. The ethics committee at the State House was a committee set up for anything that was wrongdoing by a state representative. So there was a bill filed, there was a hearing, there was a discussion, debate on the House floor. It got passed, went to the governor vetoed it. The lawmakers overturned the veto. There was a process there.
Do you think leadership, because committee chairs, do they deserve a higher stipend compared to the other members?
Absolutely. Chairmen of committees have a lot of responsibility, and there's different rates of pay for different chairs. The responsibility is an important responsibility. Much of that legislation helps or changes the way that we do business in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I think that there's two things at play here. One, it was a very broad increase across the board with clerks and judges, and which raised the figure obviously dramatically. And also the fact that it was 33 years since the representatives or senators or the governor's office or any of those got an increase per se across the board. And I think that what we try to do here in the city now is we have the Compensation Advisory Committee. So my recommendation would be to possibly put together some type of compensation committee to look at leadership stipends. The membership's pay, of which I was part of for 16 years, about 10 years ago, got tied to the cost of living. So my last 6 years as a legislator, my pay actually went down. It didn't go up because cost of living went down. So when I was a rep, my pay went down. So I think that issue is resolved as far as pay increases for individual legislators. But now I think that what my recommendation would be, if they're looking to any type of increase in the stipend type pay as far as chairman and leadership posts, they might want to look at the committee. But the last time it was raised, it was 33 years ago. So I don't think most of us probably won't, if it's 33 years from now, most of us won't be worrying and talking about it.
I mean, you're fighting for local aid funding. This is
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we're fighting for a lot of things. I mean, I think that that's important, and I think that I'm certainly not going to put in saying that I don't think somebody deserves an increase. I mean, people deserve increases. It's just the fact of life. I mean, just like the average person who's a non-elected official. Elected officials have to raise a family, have to do what they have to do as well. And it's, you know, I know it's pretty controversial right now, but again, it's been 33 years since leadership in the State House got an increase. Thank you, everyone.